standing by. Members of the SAPS and SANDF are out in full force in Umlazi. Simphiwe, what can you tell us this morning?
Good morning, Desiree. Good morning to the viewers as well at home. Desiree, you can see behind me members of the South African National Defence Force as well as the members of the South African Police Services out in full force in this community of Umlazi. Desiree, yesterday when we drove around the streets of Umlazi, a lot was happening in terms of seeing people just walking around the street. It was business as usual, so to speak, for them. You remember, it was the first day of this national lockdown. But today, Desiree, the situation has changed. Members of the SANDF as well as members of the South African Police Services have been deployed in full force. Driving to Umlazi, I must have seen about 3 roadblocks just before I got to this one where we are. At the moment, you can see there's a police van that has just arrived. The gentlemen that you see on your visuals, Desiree, they were stopped by the SAPS members as well as SANDF members because they had alcohol. Which I'm going to ask my colleague Ndabezinhle Khumalo to zoom closely so that you can see those bottles of alcohol. They are now being taken into that police van for obviously breaking the rules of this national lockdown that is currently underway. It's day 2, to be precise, Desiree. So they are basically taking no-nonsense law enforcement authorities in KwaZulu-Natal in an attempt to make sure that South Africans are safe, because the message has always been that during this 21-day period, South Africans are asked to stay at home. That's it. You have to understand, Desiree, that this community where we are in Umlazi has more than 1 million people. So if you are going to be loitering around, it defeats the whole purpose of this national lockdown. And as my colleague is just showing you what is happening, the community, they are out next to their houses this time around, not anywhere near the road, because they can see that action is now being taken to ensure that those who break the rules of this national lockdown are actually brought to book. Those gentlemen, as we speak to you, Desiree, they are being actually taken inside that police van. We presume that now they will be officially going to be charged for actually breaking the restrictions as per the announcement that was made by the president to say that South Africans are requested to stay at home and there will be no alcohol consumption during this period. But obviously to them, I mean, that was not enough. So now they are being taken to actually answer for their sins. Desiree, the situation here in Umlazi is very quiet in a sense that we have not seen many people walking around the streets of Umlazi. I'm just going to step out of the shot again, as you see that almost all the vehicles that go past this road, Desiree, they are being stopped, and you have to explain to the law enforcement authorities why you're here and what are you doing. We've also seen quite a number of actually community members being turned away as they were trying to obviously go to various spots. I'm going to now stand in front of the camera, Desiree, to indicate to you that the SAPS members as well as SANDF members here in KwaZulu-Natal are out in full force, ensuring that South Africans do abide by the regulations of this national lockdown. Desiree?
Simphiwe, as we were talking to you there, we saw people just driving by, transporting chairs. Are people still having gatherings?
You recall, Desiree, that funerals normally take place on weekends and on Saturday, to be precise. The van that you have just seen going past with chairs is probably going to be, attending to that event. Funerals are allowed to take place, but within the restrictions of obviously abiding by the rules being that at any given time there must not be more than 100 people at.
Okay, so one imagines that if they were able to go through, they have been given the appropriate permits. Thank you so much for that report. That was SABC reporter Simphiwe Makhanya.